As Bree said, I'm Teresa Resch, and I'm very honored to be president of Tempo Basketball. Welcome, everybody, for coming today. We're so excited to see a room full. Thank you to all the storytellers that made their way here, both in person and online. The media is really telling our story. We couldn't be happier for you to be here today. Want to thank and welcome my colleagues at the Tempo. We're a strong team of 12 as of today, and it's been an incredible journey over the last 9 months. Want to make sure I welcome our special guests from Kilmer as well, who have really led the charge for us of really building the foundation of this organization. Our friends from NBA Canada are here. Great to have people here who have really laid the foundation for women's basketball to grow in a real way in this country. And also our great friends, Sephora. They beautified me today, and our alignment in really that we all belong to something beautiful is so great and wonderful to have you guys on board as our founding partner. We have some other very special friends and family joining us today, and I'm sure we'll hear about them later. As I mentioned, our focus for this team really has been about growing the business of basketball for the last 9 months. So we first put out a call to the country to name our team. We were able to launch the Toronto Tempo and our beautiful colors of Bordeaux and hydrogen blue in December. We were able to launch our partnership with Sephora at the beginning of this year and followed quickly by merchandise. I see some here today, which is incredible. But what I'm really excited about is today we really get to change our focus to basketball and the team that we're going to build and the basketball that we're going to have on the court to represent this incredible country. So when we set out to find someone, we knew it had to be someone special. It had to be a person that was going to be able to represent Canada and represent what we really stood for and what we're trying to build in this country. I'd worked in the NBA for 10 years, so if you had asked me to hire an NBA GM, I knew who I'd pick right away, but in the W was a different story. So it was an incredible learning opportunity to get to know the league, and what I found was an incredible depth of talent. There's a ton of people in this world that can literally lead a WNBA team right now. So it was a matter of who was going to be the best fit for the Tempo. And could not find a better person than Monica to lead this team. Her wide breadth of experiences really captured us, and ultimately what set her apart was who she is as a person and what she brings to the table. And the people that she's worked with and that she's closest with cannot stop raving about the qualities that we most want to prioritize in this hire. So ultimately, yes, last night, this was not part of my remarks, but last night I had a chance, NBA Canada actually put 2 documentaries. We did a special preview. One was called Inbound, and it really focused on how immigration has impacted basketball in this country. And the second one was called We the North, Prehistoric to Historic, and it really talked about the 30-year history of the Raptors up to this point. And it was incredible. I loved them. Go see them. They're broadcast this weekend in theaters, and they'll be streaming, I'm sure. But what I thought was incredible is we are the next chapter. Women's basketball and the Tempo is what's next. And it made me think of this quote by Kofi Annan. I had to look it up this morning. I couldn't remember, but it's basically, there's no tool for development more effective than the empowerment of women. So that starts today. And I could not be more honored to really introduce the very first ever general manager of Tempo Basketball, Monica Rogers.
Thank you so much, Teresa, not only for the warm introduction, but for the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm honored to be doing this with you every day. I also want to thank the ownership group, especially Larry and Judy Tannenbaum, some of the best humans I know. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude, not only for their investment, but their engagement in every detail of building this team. I could not be more honored to step into this role with this team at this time. Of course, general manager roles are always special, but I truly believe that there is no better general manager role in the league than this one. But I did not get here alone. I have countless people help me along the way. First, my support system. Michael, my partner, Mikhail, my son, my parents, Gary and Lynette, who are excited to visit me here in Toronto. I thank you for being my rock-solid foundation and for the unconditional love. To my former basketball family, the Phoenix Mercury. Hi, Nick. In my short time with you all, we've accomplished so much. I'm so proud of the work we did and how we impacted the league in a positive way. I acknowledge that I sit here today representing many things. I'm a woman, I'm a person of color, I'm a former athlete, a mother, a partner, a daughter, and a sister. The collection of who I am is what has prepared me for this moment, and I want to take this time to connect with anyone who has ever felt underestimated, overlooked, or unseen. I'm living proof that you can uphold what's true to you while accomplishing big things. To the media members, thank you for being here today. I look forward to building a productive and positive relationship with each of you. As we move closer to building the Toronto Tempo team, you all will play a significant role in telling that story, and I will be your teammate in that. I strive for excellence in all facets, and I will do my best in delivering that in our working relationship. In the coming months, we're going to build this team from the ground up, hiring not only a head coach, but an entire roster of talent that will shape our first season. We'll do that, of course, through the expansion draft, but also through what I believe will be the most dynamic free agency period that the league has ever seen. 21 of this last year's WNBA All-Stars are set to become unrestricted free agents in 2026. We are dedicated to bringing the greatest basketball talent in the world here to Toronto. And in part, we're not just building this team for a city, but an entire country. We can't wait to settle into our home at Coca-Cola Coliseum, but we'll also be bringing this team to Montreal and Vancouver as part of our mission and our mandate to represent all Canadians. This is so much more than a team. It's a movement to grow the game of women's basketball in Canada. On a personal level, I'm incredibly excited to call this vibrant city home. I've already felt such a warm welcome from everyone, and I'm excited to bring my family here. Thank you so much.
Okay, does this work? Yeah. So I get to ask Monica the first questions. Thank you so much. This is so fun. This is so great. Okay, so I wasn't kidding. I do have a couple questions for you before we turn it over to the media.
Okay.
So we haven't talked a lot about your career, but one of the things and why you're a great fit for this is all the different stops you've had. So first and foremost, you're a player yourself, winning championships at a high level. You then moved on to coach at your alma mater. You then moved on to the league office. We share that, both having worked for the NBA International Group, not at the same time. And then, like you mentioned, Phoenix Mercury. So all these different experiences. But ultimately, it was really, really meaningful in the process to hear why GM was the place that you wanted to be. So tell us more about that.
Well, first and foremost, I have a huge passion for women's sports. It's my life. And then obviously basketball has changed my life. And so when I was a player and I was winning at the highest level, I felt that that was just something that I want everyone to experience, everyone that came through the WNBA as a player to experience. And so after my playing career, I did coach for a bit, and I then realized I had a passion for the business side of things. And so I've realized through my journey that this is like being a GM, being an assistant GM in the front office is exactly where I belong, because the combination of my talents, my passion, my experiences, I'm able to use it and stretch myself on a day-to-day that I've never felt in any other profession. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Where you belong, yeah. No, it's a journey to figure out where you belong. So it's incredible, to hear that this is the place. The other thing through the process that I talked to numerous people just in women's basketball and the WNBA of, what should I prioritize in this hire? And the things that they talked about very specifically and what they said to prioritize were an incredible relationship builder, and then someone that will bring people together. And when I heard that and met you and got to spend more time with you, I realized those are two of your superpowers. So where does that come from?
Thank you. It's so kind of you, and it's just who I am. I remember as a player, I just have always had a healthy, genuine care for people and team. I've always wanted to bring people together to do great things. And since I was a little girl, I've just been that type of person. So thank you for the compliment. It's just, I haven't heard that before. So.
Yeah, no, I think that it was something that was very evident as you talked to people around the NBA. And then, I mean, I put you through the ringer in the interview process. We had to go through a lot and meet a lot of different people within the Tempo basketball ecosystem.
Right.
I'm really curious what you learned about yourself throughout that process.
Man, a lot of what I learned is that I'm completely ready for this. Definitely felt that my wealth of knowledge and experience is going to equip me to really take on whatever challenges this role might have. I also learned that, along the way, at times when you're doing the right thing, you may not feel immediate gratitude. You may feel like you've made the wrong decision, but you stood on your core values. I think that in long term, me standing on my core values early in my career really resonated with the right people, the right job. And that's really what I learned throughout that process.
Okay, this is an easy one. Everyone's dying to know, why Toronto?
Man, a lot of it had to do with you.
That wasn't a setup. I didn't set that up.
Okay. And, I know what it means to partner with like-minded individuals that match your fire, that match your passion and your work ethic. I see a lot of what you do, Teresa, and I'm very impressed, and I want to partner with that. I know Toronto, from a distance, me learning about the city, it's a sports city. The passion and appetite they have for sports in general is unmatched. Then you add on top of it the passion that they have for women's basketball and the appetite for this WNBA team. And why wouldn't I take this opportunity? It's a no-brainer.
Love it. Okay, those are all the questions I have. We'll turn it over to the media, and we'll do a Q&A.
Yeah, so we'll open it up for questions. So before you ask your question, I would love if you could introduce yourself and say your outlet, please.
Hi, my name is Savannah Hamilton. I work for Sportsnet, currently covering the Toronto Raptors. I would just love to know, because of your playing experience, coaching experience, and being an assistant GM, how are you able to take all those levels and combine it to the new role that you're stepping in now?
Great question. Nice to meet you. I pull from all of it every day, and I think at certain times I'll pull from other experiences more. But again, in understanding what the role meant, I really feel that I'm just a unique mixture of all those things, and that you'll see that uniqueness play out once this team tips off in 2026. So, for the question.
Thanks. Hey, Monica. Richard Deitch from The Athletic. Always good to see another American in Toronto. I realize the job is new, but do you have a timeline, at least in your head at the moment, in terms of when you'll hire a head coach?
Great question. Right now, I'm still getting the ball rolling in my role, but I want to pull together a great team, a search committee to help me in this process. I think that we have a great amount of coaching candidates out there, and I would hope by expansion draft that we would have someone in place.
Monica, Michael Grange from Sportsnet, congratulations. You touched on expansion draft, and obviously the CBA is coming up sooner than later. How can you kind of make your priorities about team building? How soon can you act on them without knowing some of the particulars like that?
I think we can be as proactive as we want to be in terms of building a strategy to make sure that we're competitive for those big key moments in the league. Again, pulling together brilliant minds that we have at our fingertips here in Canada, pulling together internal teams to make sure that we're all putting our heads together to be competitive and make the best decisions.
Adam Lascaris from Daily Hive. You mentioned that the free agency class is going to be pretty expansive. And when you're trying to lure players to Toronto, there's obviously never been a WNBA team here before. What's your pitch, sort of? Are you talking about how you're going to be playing games in different cities? Are you talking about, how it's a new opportunity? What sort of would your pitch be like to prospective free agents and players that are going to come here?
Absolutely, and I can definitely talk from the basketball perspective of that, and maybe Teresa can hit on some of those other business side advantages. But I think, in general, players want to be in a situation where they feel the support, they can be competitive and win, and you get all of those here. They'll have a top, fan base, they'll have support. The business side is so robust that they'll feel support on all sides. And so I think, again, it was a no-brainer for me. It'll be a no-brainer for a player to want to play in a market like this.
Hi, Judy Beringabo from Toronto Star. Monica, welcome. I wonder if you can expand a little bit on what you said earlier about this being the best opportunity in the league. What makes Toronto more attractive to you, and what are those are some type of the unique challenges, unique opportunities that you see here?
Well, like I said before, this city is such a sports-loving city, and so the attractiveness there is just that you'll get, a great amount of support. You'll have a lot of things to do, a lot of sports events to go to, and I think that in terms of challenges, we won't have as a franchise any unique challenges that any other WNBA team might have. I think we'll have some advantages. The fact that we are new, players will be able to step into this and really paint a picture of how they want this team to be on court, and they'll be the faces of it, not in competition with anyone prior. And so, again, there's a lot more advantages to being a new franchise than obstacles, in my opinion.
Chico Nishun from The Score. Welcome to Toronto, Monica. Back in college in Virginia, you were known as a great defensive player. I'm curious if the team you're building here, are they going to kind of take on that same identity, and would that kind of influence your roster construction and obviously a head coach eventually down the line?
You went back in the history books with that one. But I think whatever our identity is on court will be a combination of what I believe in and what our future head coach believes in. And so we'll be able to speak more on that when we have that position in place. But I think defense is something that, wins championships at the end of the day. So you really can't not have that in your on-court product.
Hey, Monica, Miles Victor, CBC Sports. Congratulations. Just as you have this opportunity to build out a team from scratch, which is, pretty rare, what's sort of your vision for what it'll look like on the court, and how much have you sort of watched as the Valkyries have gone about the same process?
Yeah. With the on-court question, I believe in playing the game the right way. And again, what we look like on court will be a combination of myself and what our head coach believes in. But you'll see an up-tempo game for sure. And you'll see great quality basketball played by great quality players. And definitely, watching the Valkyries has given us a great idea of what to expect. And we'll take that and what we're watching and seeing and hearing, and we'll strategize appropriately.
Hey, Monica, congratulations. I'm Katie Heindel from SB Nation. We're talking a little bit about the on-court components when you're team building, but I'm curious what you think of the overall kind of components necessary and really important to you when it comes to team building, especially at this level.
Great question. Early on as a new franchise, I think as we're building out a roster, as we're building out a staff, I think talent is important, a quality person is important, but you also need to be aware of where we are as a franchise, and being able to pour into your community will be a prerequisite to join this franchise. And so having presence in this community, not only in Toronto, but all across Canada, will be very important, quality and people that we bring into this franchise.
Have another one. How much does your philosophy dictate the personnel that you'll be looking for around you, whether coaching or players, versus how much personnel will be dictating maybe the philosophy that you end up going in the direction, and then also your expectations of the first season?
Maybe I can answer the first two by just saying quality over quantity. And so I feel, again, quality people that get it, that are also compared with having talent, that's what I look for in everyone. And so that sometimes when you're looking at a roster, you have to weigh talent and figure it out. but I definitely don't want to compromise when it comes to the quality that we bring into Toronto to represent this franchise. And expectations for the first season are positive. I think, again, that we have an exciting opportunity here to bring women's basketball fans across the country together and rooting on our inaugural season. And I'm really excited about that opportunity, and I think we'll be good to go.
So we have time for one more after this, and then we're going to do a quick photo shoot, and then we're going to move outside for a scrum.
Thanks. One more question for me as well. If you don't know, you'll soon know it's a very prideful nation, Canada. And I wonder, at least philosophically, how important is it for you to have a Canadian player or multiple Canadian players on the roster?
I don't want to make any roster promises, but I will say that I'm really excited about the talent that Canada has in the WNBA and upcoming through those NCAA pipelines, through the national team pipelines. And I think that there's tremendous opportunity to get some of that talent in the future.
Over the last 2 years, you were involved in the scouting and managing the salary cap with the Mercury. Just curious how those 2 years of experiences has really helped prepare you for this role.
Great question. Got my former boss in here today. He can definitely answer this, but I think it really helped me tremendously. They came in with a very much NBA experience, and just me being able to pair and add that to my toolkit really gave me some different components and creativity that I would not have had before if I wasn't with the Mercury. So very thankful to them.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm going to invite cameras to come up for some photos with Teresa and Monica.